Hello, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for your astrological overview for week commencing the 20th of July. This week begins with the intensity that's been pulsating around the heavens, still partly continuing in the guise of Mars's clash with Uranus. Uranus in Aries is a very unstable influence because Aries is always about instinct. It's about acting now, thinking about it later. And Uranus doesn't really need an awful lot of encouragement to be that kind of unpredictable. So the odds are really ramped up already. But Mars is the planet of instant gratification. And in Cancer, it can be very defensive, tetchy, and a little bit sort of inclined to hit out. So when you put the two together, you can see that there can still be an electric energy buzzing away, which could see us partly jump into conclusions or being very frazzled and exasperated rather easily. With the Sun also combining with Mercury in the first half of this week in Cancer, Mercury itself is not particularly comfortable in this sign, and applying logic in a way which is really helpful may also be a challenge. So we need to slow things down, consider things carefully. Ironically, Saturn, which has such a bad reputation, is actually slowing down Jupiter still this week, but that may be no bad thing. Jupiter in Leo is very much about gambles, about big dramatic events. Saturn in Scorpio is much more about really checking out what things really mean. And that can be a counterpoint to this more excitable energy on the other side of the heavens. But there is a big change which occurs on Thursday and Friday when both the Sun and Mercury respectively return to the sign of Leo. Now the Sun moving into Leo is a wonderful thing because obviously the rulership of this sign is the Sun. So it's really in its elements, and over the next 4 weeks for all of us, when it comes to opening our hearts, showing our warmth, showing the more generous side of life, the more creative and loving side of ourselves, it's a real opportunity. And with Mercury close by, our minds can step up a gear quickly. The whole atmosphere can just seem a little bit lighter from Thursday and Friday onwards. I feel that in general there will be a more progressive agenda that's starting to unfold in the world at large. However, Venus does begin a backward journey on Saturday in the sign of Virgo. Now, it's going to be going backwards in Virgo until the end of this month, and then it retreats back into Leo. It will eventually go forwards in Virgo at the early part of October. So it's going to be a long old transit this, when usually Venus just takes 28 days to move through each sign. Now Venus, of course, is about love, but it's also about money. Virgo is about virtue, but it's also about practicality, and it's also earthy. Good sense of humour usually. We're thinking about how we relate. We need to perhaps have realistic expectations, not expect perfection, which can be a bit of a Virgo trait. So when we're interacting with people, we need to perhaps give them a little bit of a break if they don't quite meet exactly what we want. Now Uranus itself is going to be going into a retrograde on Sunday. This lasts for 5.5 months, and it's going to make us all think about freedoms. Freedoms is all very well, but freedom never works very well without a certain degree of an awareness to responsibility. So in all our situations we can juggle those particular criteria over the next half year. But for now, look forward to the Sun and Mercury entering Leo, a real bright new beginning for the year in the middle or towards the end of this week. Thank you for joining me, good luck, and goodbye for now.